The ship's alarm blared, startling Ben Adams awake. His vision blurred as pain shot through his skull, a familiar dull ache that had been plaguing him for weeks. He fumbled for the emergency light switch beside his bunk, illuminating the cramped quarters of his solo transport vessel. Something was wrong. The navigation system showed a massive object had locked onto his ship, and the pull of an external traction beam made the walls creak ominously. "Computer, status report," Ben croaked, his mouth unusually dry despite having drunk several liters of water before sleep. "Unknown vessel has established contact. Traction beam engaged. Hull integrity compromised in Section 4. Recommend immediate evacuation protocol," the monotone voice responded. Ben struggled to his feet, feeling lightheaded. The constant thirst, frequent urination, and unexplained weight loss had been concerning him for weeks, but out here in the fringes of mapped space, medical assistance wasn't an option. His trading route between the outer colonies was lucrative but isolated. The ship lurched violently, throwing Ben against the wall. He grabbed his emergency pack and stumbled toward the airlock, knowing resistance was futile. Whatever had him wasn't letting go. The airlock hissed open without his command. Bright, clinical light flooded in, temporarily blinding him. When his vision cleared, Ben found himself staring at three tall, slender figures. Their skin was pale blue with a slight iridescent quality, and their four eyes arranged in a diamond pattern blinked independently of each other. They wore what appeared to be form-fitting uniforms with symbols that shifted and changed. "Human detected. Condition. Suboptimal. Initiating retrieval," the tallest one said, its voice a strange combination of clicks and whispers that somehow translated perfectly in Ben's mind. Before Ben could respond, his knees buckled. The constant fatigue, the unquenchable thirst, it all culminated in this moment of weakness. The last thing he remembered was being lifted by surprisingly strong arms, his body feeling both heavy and weightless at once. Ben awoke on a flat, slightly warm surface. The room around him was circular, with walls that seemed to pulse with soft blue light. Various devices hovered in the air, moving with purpose though no visible means of propulsion was apparent. "The specimen is conscious," announced a voice from behind him. Ben turned his head to see one of the blue beings from earlier, now wearing what appeared to be a different uniform, this one with more complex symbols and additional attachments that reminded him of medical instruments. "I'm not a specimen," Ben managed to say, his voice raspy. "My name is Ben Adams. I'm a trader from Earth Colony Delta." The alien tilted its head, all four eyes focusing on him simultaneously. "Designation noted. I am Medical Officer Vrek of the Ghaalic Federation. You have been brought aboard our vessel due to detected biological anomalies." A second alien entered, carrying what looked like a thin, transparent tablet. "The preliminary scans are complete, Medical Officer. The human's blood analysis shows severe imbalances." Vrek approached, holding a device that emitted a soft hum as it passed over Ben's body. "Your biological functions are operating at reduced efficiency. Internal scans indicate abnormal glucose levels in your bloodstream." Ben attempted to sit up, but found himself gently restrained by an invisible force field. "Look, I appreciate the concern, but I need to get back to my ship. I have deliveries scheduled. Your vessel has been secured in our holding bay," Vrek interrupted. "It was damaged and leaking oxygen. Repairs are underway. However, your physical condition requires immediate attention." The second alien approached, placing the transparent tablet above Ben's chest where it hovered, displaying incomprehensible symbols and what might have been his biological readings. "Too much sugar in the blood," it stated flatly. Cellular damage occurring. Ben sighed, a strange sense of relief washing over him despite the bizarre circumstances. That's diabetes, he explained. Type 1 or type 2, I'm guessing. I've been having symptoms for weeks, but there are no medical facilities where I've been trading. All four of Vrek's eyes blinked in unison. Diabetes, a human metabolic disorder. Our database contains information on this condition. The alien made a gesture, and several holographic displays appeared in the air. You are familiar with this disease. It runs in my family, Ben explained, feeling strangely calm despite being essentially abducted by aliens. My father had it. I should have recognized the signs: constant thirst, frequent urination, fatigue, blurry vision. Classic symptoms. Vrek and the second alien exchanged a series of rapid clicks. The human shows awareness of its condition, yet took no corrective action, the second alien observed. Puzzling behavior. I'm a deep space trader, Ben defended himself. The outer colonies don't have sophisticated medical facilities. I was planning to head back to the core worlds after my current delivery run. Vrek made another gesture, and the restraining field released Ben. Your condition requires treatment. If left unchecked, your diabetes will cause organ failure and death. We will provide necessary intervention. Ben sat up slowly, looking around the medical bay with newfound curiosity. I'm grateful for the help, but why did you bring me aboard? You could have just sent a message. The second alien stepped forward. I am research specialist Zenth. Our mission includes studying sentient species in this sector. Your biological anomaly was detected during routine scanning. It presented an opportunity to observe human medical conditions firsthand. So I'm a research subject. Ben asked, feeling less comfortable. You are a patient, Vrek corrected. The Ghaalic Federation's primary directive is to preserve life. Research is secondary. A third alien entered the room, this one wearing a more elaborate uniform with glowing emblems. Medical officer, the Council requests an update on the human. Ship Commander Lorix, Vrek acknowledged with a slight bow. The human has a condition called diabetes. It disrupts glucose metabolism. Treatment protocols are being prepared. Lorix approached Ben, studying him with obvious curiosity. Human, your vessel's navigational records indicate you were traveling alone through a particularly dangerous sector. This seems unwise, especially given your compromised health. Ben felt a flash of defensiveness. I didn't know I was sick when I started this run. And the name's Ben, not human. Lorix's upper eyes narrowed while the lower ones widened an expression Ben couldn't interpret. Ben, then. Our ship will be in this sector for 7 orbital cycles. Medical Officer Vrek will treat your condition during this time. 7 cycles. I can't stay that long. I have deadlines, contracts. Your biological functions are failing, Zenth interrupted. Without intervention, you will experience complete systemic collapse within approximately 14 of your Earth days. That silenced Ben's protests. He'd known something was wrong, but hearing it stated so clinically made the reality sink in. Fine. What's your treatment plan? Vrek manipulated several floating devices, causing them to arrange themselves around Ben. First, we must stabilize your glucose levels, then address tissue damage. Finally, implement a regulation system. You mean insulin injections? Ben asked. Primitive, but essentially correct, Vrek replied. Our methods are more refined. We will synthesize a biomolecular regulator tailored to your specific genetic code. As they spoke, one of the hovering devices extended a thin filament that gently touched Ben's arm. He felt a slight warming sensation but no pain. Complete blood sample acquired, announced Zenth. Beginning detailed analysis. Ben watched in fascination as his blood, a vivid red against the sterile blue-white of the alien technology, was separated into components within a floating transparent sphere. Colored lights flashed through the sphere as the analysis proceeded. Glucose level, 387 milligrams per deciliter, Zenth announced. Critically elevated, ketone bodies present, early signs of nephropathy detected. Vrek made a sound that might have been concern. Immediate intervention required. Preparing stabilization protocol. Ben felt suddenly afraid. The clinical detachment of the aliens made the severity of his condition more real. Am I going to die? Vrek's 4 eyes focused on him. Not under our care, Ben Adams. The Ghaalic Federation has treated similar metabolic disorders in 17 different species. Yours is well documented in our database. Regulation medium prepared, Zenth announced, approaching with what looked like a small, glowing blue cube. Ben eyed it warily. What is that? A glucose regulation matrix, Vrek explained. It will temporarily stabilize your blood sugar while we prepare a permanent solution. The matrix dissolves in your bloodstream and creates nanobiotic regulators that will function similar to your pancreatic beta cells. Nanobiotics. You're putting machines in my blood. Not machines as you understand them, Zenth clarified. Organic constructs that mimic natural cellular functions. They will degrade naturally after approximately 72 hours. Ben hesitated, then nodded. Okay, do it. The cube floated from Zenth's hand to hover above Ben's chest. It slowly dissolved into a glowing mist that seemed to sink through his skin without any sensation. Within moments, Ben felt a change. The foggy feeling that had plagued him for weeks began to clear. Initial response positive, Vrek noted, watching the readings. Glucose levels already decreasing. 342, 318, continuing to decline toward normal parameters. I feel better, Ben said, surprised. Clearer. The immediate symptoms will subside as your body returns to homeostasis, Vrek explained. However, the underlying condition remains. We must address the autoimmune response that has damaged your pancreatic cells. Commander Lorix, who had been observing silently, stepped forward. Medical officer, once the human is stabilized, I want a full report. This is the 3rd human vessel we've encountered in this restricted sector this cycle. Their presence here is concerning. Ben frowned. Restricted sector. According to colonial navigation, this is open space. Lorix's upper eyes narrowed again. This sector falls under Ghaalic Federation protection due to the presence of developing sentient species on multiple worlds. Human presence here is not authorized. Nobody told me, Ben protested. The trading route I'm following has been used for years. A matter for later discussion, Vrek interjected. For now, the patient requires rest while the regulation matrix establishes full functionality. Lorix seemed ready to argue but instead made a gesture of acknowledgement. Very well. I will return later for his statement. With that, the commander left the medical bay. Zenth approached with another device. This will monitor your biological functions while you rest. It is advisable to sleep while your body adjusts. Ben suddenly realized how exhausted he felt. The temporary improvement from the alien treatment had masked his underlying fatigue, but now it returned in full force. Yeah, sleep sounds good. As his eyes closed, Ben heard Vrek and Zenth continuing their discussion. Fascinating adaptation, Zenth was saying. Humans continue functioning despite severe metabolic disruption. A resilient species, Vrek agreed, though not always wise in their choices. Ben wanted to defend himself but was already drifting into the most restful sleep he'd had in weeks. When Ben awoke, the medical bay was dimmed. He felt remarkably better. The constant thirst that had plagued him was gone, and his vision was clearer than it had been in a month. He sat up, noticing that the restraining field was no longer active. "The patient is awake," announced a voice, and the lights gradually brightened. Vrek approached from a console across the room. "Your vital signs have stabilized. Glucose levels are now within acceptable parameters." "I feel great," Ben admitted. "Whatever you did worked wonders." "The regulation matrix is functioning as intended," Vrek confirmed. "However, it is a temporary solution. We have been synthesizing a permanent treatment while you rested." "How long was I asleep?" "Approximately 16 Earth hours," Zenth answered, entering the medical bay with a tray of what appeared to be food. "Your body required recovery time. Nutritional sustenance is now recommended." Ben eyed the tray suspiciously. It contained several items that looked almost but not quite like familiar foods. "Is this safe for humans?" "It was synthesized based on your nutritional requirements," Zenth explained. "Balanced for your current metabolic condition. No simple sugars, moderate complex carbohydrates, adequate protein and fats." Ben cautiously tried what appeared to be a blue-tinted bread roll. It tasted surprisingly like whole-grain bread with a hint of something nutty. "Not bad. While you consume nutrients, I will explain your condition and our treatment plan," Vrek said, generating a holographic display above the bed. It showed what Ben recognized as human internal organs, with his pancreas highlighted. "Your diabetes is type 1, an autoimmune condition where your immune system has destroyed the insulin-producing beta cells in your pancreas." Ben nodded, taking another bite. "That's what I figured. My father had type 2, which is different. I know the basics." "Your understanding is helpful," Vrek acknowledged. "Traditional human treatments involve regular insulin injections or pumps to replace what your body cannot produce. These methods are functional but require constant monitoring and adjustment." "And let me guess, you have something better?" Ben asked. "We have synthesized pancreatic regeneration cells tailored to your genetic code," Vrek explained. "These cells will integrate with your remaining pancreatic tissue and gradually restore insulin production. Additionally, we can provide immunomodulators to prevent your immune system from attacking these new cells." Ben paused mid-bite. "You're saying you can cure my diabetes completely?" "Cure is imprecise terminology," Zenth interjected. "We can restore function and provide ongoing protection for the regenerated cells. Maintenance treatments will be required periodically, but much less frequently than your conventional insulin therapy." Ben felt a surge of hope he hadn't expected. "That's incredible." "On Earth and the colonies, diabetes is manageable but chronic. No one's cured it. Your medical technology is advancing but remains focused on treatment rather than restoration," Vrek observed. "Our approach prioritizes returning the body to natural function when possible." Ben finished his meal, which had left him feeling satisfied but not overly full. "So what's next? When do we start this regeneration treatment?" "We have already begun," Vrek revealed. "The nutritional material you just consumed contained the first stage of regenerative cells. They are now entering your bloodstream and will be attracted to your pancreatic tissue." Ben looked down at his empty plate with newfound respect. "Clever. The process requires 4 treatment phases over 3 days," Zenth explained. "During this time, we will continue to monitor your glucose levels and make adjustments as needed." Commander Lorix entered the medical bay, accompanied by another alien wearing what appeared to be a security uniform. "Medical officer, what is the human status?" "Ben is responding well to initial treatment," Vrek reported. "Pancreatic regeneration has begun and should be complete within 3 cycles." Lorix turned to Ben. Now that you are conscious and stabilized, we must discuss your presence in this restricted sector. Ben shifted uncomfortably. As I said before, I had no idea this was restricted space. The trading route I'm following has been established for years. Show me this route, Lorix demanded. Zenth brought forward a holographic display of the local star systems. Ben pointed out his planned trajectory from the mining colonies of Proxima Centauri to the agricultural settlements of Tau Ceti. Lorix studied the route, all four eyes narrowing. This path crosses through a protected development zone established 52 cycles ago. The Galactic Council sent formal notifications to all known spacefaring species. Well, Earth either didn't get the memo or didn't share it with independent traders like me, Ben said defensively. I'm just trying to make a living. The security officer stepped forward. Commander, our records indicate increasing human activity in this sector over the past 7 cycles. This matches the time frame of the discovery of rare mineral deposits on Caelus Roman 4. Ben tried to keep his expression neutral, but Lorix caught his reaction. You are aware of these mining operations. I may have transported some equipment that way, Ben admitted reluctantly. Illegal mining operations in a protected development zone, Lorix stated, voice hardening. This is a serious violation of Galactic Council directives. I'm just a transport pilot, Ben protested. I don't make policy decisions, I get contracts, I deliver goods. That's it. Vrek intervened. Commander, regardless of the circumstances, Ben remains a patient under my care. Any legal matters should wait until his treatment is complete. Lorix seemed ready to object but finally nodded. 3 days, medical officer, then we will address these violations. After the commander left, Ben sighed heavily. Am I in serious trouble here? The Ghaalic Federation takes protection of developing species very seriously, Zenth explained. However, as you are the first human we have been able to communicate with directly about this matter, you may be considered an informational resource rather than a violator. So I'm more valuable as a messenger than a prisoner, Ben asked hopefully. That will be for the council to decide, Vrek said noncommittally. For now, focus on your treatment. Phase 2 will begin tomorrow. The next morning, Ben woke feeling even better. The floating monitors around his bed displayed his vital signs, including glucose levels that were now within normal range. Zenth entered carrying another tray of food. Your biological functions continue to improve, the alien noted. Pancreatic cell regeneration is at 14%. Only 14%. It feels like I'm completely better, Ben said, accepting the tray. The regulation matrix is still managing most of your glucose processing, Zenth explained. As your natural pancreatic function returns, the matrix will gradually reduce its activity. Ben ate breakfast again, strange but palatable, while Zenth reviewed his treatment plan. Afterward, Vrek arrived with what looked like a small, luminescent green sphere. Phase 2 involves targeted immunomodulation, the medical officer explained. This compound will teach your immune system to recognize and accept the new pancreatic cells rather than attacking them. Will it affect my overall immune function? Ben asked. I can't afford to get sick out in deep space. The modulation is highly specific, Vrek assured him. It only affects the immune response to pancreatic beta cells. Your ability to fight other infections will remain intact. The green sphere dissolved like the previous treatment, sinking into Ben's chest without sensation. Within minutes, he felt a slight warming throughout his body. Normal response, Vrek noted, monitoring the readings. The immunomodulator is establishing neural immune communication pathways. Later that day, Ben was allowed to leave the medical bay for the first time. Accompanied by Zenth, he explored parts of the massive Ghaalic vessel. The ship was unlike anything in human design. Corridors curved organically. Lights seemed to emerge directly from the walls, and gravity shifted subtly between sections in ways that felt intentional rather than mechanical. "Your ship is amazing," Ben commented as they entered what appeared to be an observation deck. Through massive transparent panels, he could see stars and the glowing nebula that dominated this sector of space. "How many crew members do you have?" "The exploration vessel Lumina carries 417 Ghaalic personnel," Zenth replied, "plus research specimens and now one human patient." "Research specimens? You mean other aliens?" "We study various life forms, yes. All ethical protocols are observed," Zenth added quickly. "No sentient being is held against their will unless they have violated protection laws." "Like me," Ben said ruefully. "Your case is complex," Zenth admitted. "You violated restrictions unknowingly and your medical condition required intervention. These factors will be considered." They continued their tour, encountering other Ghaalic crew members who regarded Ben with obvious curiosity. Some made those clicking sounds Ben now recognized as their natural speech, though they politely switched to translated communication when addressing him directly. On the second evening, after completing Phase 3 of his treatment, a neural regulation procedure that Vrek said would improve his body's ability to sense and respond to glucose levels, Ben was visited by Commander Lorix again. "Our investigation into human activity in this sector has yielded concerning results," Lorix stated without preamble. 17 human vessels have traversed the protected zone in the past cycle alone. 3 have landed on Ghaalic Roman 4, a world with pre-technological sentient life. Ben nodded slowly. "The mining operation. I've never been to the planet myself, but I've heard rumors about the setup there. This mining violates multiple Galactic Council directives," Lorix said severely. "The indigenous population of Ghaalic Roman 4 is at a critical developmental stage. Outside interference could permanently alter their cultural evolution." "I understand," Ben said, "but I'm not sure what you expect me to do about it." Lorix's 4 eyes focused intently on him. "We propose an arrangement. The Ghaalic Federation will complete your medical treatment and repair your vessel. In exchange, you will return to human space carrying formal notification of the protected status of this sector, along with evidence of the violations." Ben considered this. "You want me to be your messenger?" "To report the mining operation to Earth authorities." "Precisely. Direct intervention by our forces would be viewed as hostile by your species. A diplomatic approach through one of your own kind is preferable." "What makes you think Earth authorities will listen to me?" "I'm just an independent trader. The evidence we provide will speak for itself," Lorix assured him. "Additionally, your medical treatment provides incentive for cooperation." Ben understood the implication. "You mean I need to keep coming back for maintenance treatments?" "The immunomodulation therapy requires renewal every 6 months for the first 2 years," Vrek confirmed, entering the conversation. "After that, annual treatments should suffice." Ben weighed his options. The aliens had saved his life and offered him ongoing treatment for a condition that would otherwise require constant management. In return, they wanted him to report illegal activities that he had no direct stake in. "I'll do it," he finally agreed. "But I want something in addition to the medical treatment." Lorix's upper eyes narrowed. "What do you request?" "Official trading rights in non-restricted Ghaalic sectors," Ben said. "If I'm going to lose my current routes, I need new opportunities." Lorix and Vrek exchanged a series of rapid clicks. Finally, Lorix turned back to Ben. Limited trading permissions can be arranged, pending approval of your cargo manifests before each journey. No weapons, no prohibited technologies, no exploitation of protected resources. Agreed, Ben said, extending his hand out of habit. After a moment of confusion, Lorix reached out and awkwardly grasped it. The arrangement is made, the commander declared. On the third day, Ben underwent the final phase of his treatment. This involved a more complex procedure, where Vrek used a device that created a localized field around Ben's abdomen, focusing specifically on his pancreas. The field accelerates cellular regeneration and integration, Vrek explained. It will complete the process and establish permanent connections between your new beta cells and your body's glucose sensing network. The procedure lasted 4 hours, during which Ben drifted in and out of a dreamlike state. When it was finally complete, he felt remarkably normal, better than he had in months. Treatment complete, Vrek announced. Pancreatic function restored to 93% of optimal capacity. The remaining 7% deficit is within normal variation for human biology. Ben sat up slowly. So I'm cured. Just like that. Your body is now producing insulin naturally again, Vrek confirmed. The immunomodulation will prevent your immune system from attacking these cells as it did before. However, as discussed, periodic treatments will be necessary to maintain this protection. And I need to watch what I eat, I assume. Prudent nutrition is advisable for all beings, Zenth said, but you no longer need to restrict carbohydrates as strictly as you would with conventional diabetes management. Your body can now process them normally. Later that day, Ben was escorted to the ship's docking bay where his vessel waited. True to their word, the Ghaalics had repaired the damage to his hull and even improved several systems. We took the liberty of installing a more efficient life support system, Zenth explained. And a medical monitoring device that will alert you to any changes in your glucose levels. Commander Lorix approached, carrying what looked like a small crystalline cube. This contains the evidence and formal notifications we discussed. It includes coordinates for a rendezvous point in 6 months for your first maintenance treatment. Ben accepted the cube. And the trading permits? Lorix handed him a second, smaller cube. This contains authorization codes and designated trading routes within permissible Ghaalic territories. Lucrative opportunities without violating protections. Thank you, Ben said sincerely. Not just for this, but for saving my life. I probably wouldn't have made it back to human space in my condition. The preservation of life is our primary directive, Vrek stated. Even when that life has strayed into prohibited sectors. As Ben prepared to board his ship, he turned back to the 3 aliens who had irrevocably changed his life. Will I see you specifically at the rendezvous, or will it be other Ghaalics? The Lumina will be assigned to that sector for the next standard year, Lorix confirmed. We will conduct your treatment personally. In the meantime, Vrek added, we have loaded information about your condition and treatment into your ship's database. It includes dietary recommendations and warning signs to watch for, though we anticipate no complications. Ben nodded, feeling a strange mixture of gratitude and apprehension about the task ahead. Reporting the illegal mining operation wouldn't make him popular in certain circles, but the alternatives, both for his health and potentially for his freedom, left him little choice. I'll see you in 6 months then, he said, and I'll have completed my part of our arrangement by then. We will monitor the situation, Lorix said, in what Ben took as both reassurance and warning. Ben boarded his ship, finding the interior cleaner and better organized than he'd left it. The Ghaalics had even restocked his supplies. He settled into the pilot's seat and initiated the launch sequence. As the ship detached from the Ghaalic vessel, he saw the three aliens watching from an observation window. Vrek raised a hand in what appeared to be an attempt at a human wave goodbye. 2 weeks later, Ben's ship docked at Earth Colony Administration headquarters on Mars. He had spent the journey rehearsing what he would say, reviewing the evidence the Ghaalics had provided, and considering the implications of his new role as an unofficial liaison between humans and the Ghaalic Federation. The meeting with colonial security officials went better than expected. The evidence was irrefutable detailed scans of human mining operations on Caelus Roman 4, complete with timestamps and identification markers for the vessels involved. More importantly, the Ghaalics had included comprehensive data on the indigenous species being affected six-limbed, tool using beings at a developmental stage roughly equivalent to Earth's Bronze Age. This is troubling, admitted Director Harlow of Colonial Security. The mining operation was authorized under the assumption that Caelus Roman 4 was uninhabited. The Ghaalic Federation says formal notifications were sent decades ago, Ben pointed out. They're giving us the chance to withdraw voluntarily before they take more direct action. And they used you as their messenger because. Ben explained his medical situation, though he downplayed the severity of the diabetes and the remarkable nature of the Ghaalic treatment. They helped me. I agreed to help them. Simple as that. After hours of debriefing and document submission, Ben was finally released with assurances that the matter would be addressed at the highest levels. Whether that meant actual action or bureaucratic burial remained to be seen. Over the following months, Ben established new trading routes using the Ghaalic permits. As promised, they provided access to systems with valuable resources and trading partners previously unknown to human merchants. His business flourished, though he occasionally faced suspicion from other traders who wondered how he'd gained exclusive access to these lucrative routes. Exactly 6 months after his departure from the Lumina, Ben piloted his ship to the designated rendezvous coordinates in a remote star system. He arrived to find the massive Ghaalic vessel already waiting. "Ghaalic vessel Lumina to human transport," came Zenth's now familiar voice over the communication system. "Welcome, Ben Adams. Please proceed to Docking Bay 3 for your scheduled treatment." As Ben guided his ship toward the indicated bay, he felt none of the fear or uncertainty of his first encounter with the aliens. Instead, he experienced something unexpected, a sense of returning to visit people he now considered, if not exactly friends, then at least respected allies. The docking procedure completed smoothly, and when the airlock opened, Vrek was waiting. "Your biological readings indicate continued optimal function," the medical officer observed. "The treatment has maintained efficacy as expected." "I feel great," Ben confirmed. "Haven't had a single problem since I left." As they walked toward the medical bay, Ben updated Vrek on the response to the evidence he delivered. The Colonial Administration issued an immediate cessation order for the Caelus mining operation. They're claiming ignorance of the indigenous population and blaming communications oversights for missing your previous notifications. "A diplomatic response," Vrek noted. "Has the mining activity stopped?" "According to official reports, yes. All personnel have been evacuated from the planet's surface. They're establishing an observation post in orbit instead, research only, no resource extraction." Vrek's 4 eyes blinked in that now familiar pattern that Ben had learned indicated satisfaction. "This is an acceptable outcome. Commander Lorix will be pleased." The maintenance treatment was simpler than the original procedure, just a renewal of the immunomodulation therapy. and a thorough scan to ensure his pancreas continued functioning properly. Afterward, Ben shared a meal with Vrek, Zenth, and Commander Lorix in what appeared to be a private dining area. "Your actions have prevented a potential conflict," Lorix acknowledged. "The Ghaalic Federation Council has noted this positive development in human-Ghaalic relations." "Does this mean I'm not the only human who knows about you now?" Ben asked. "Your colonial administration has requested formal diplomatic contact," Lorix confirmed. "Preliminary discussions are underway. Your role as an initial intermediary has been valuable." "So I'm out of a job," Ben joked. "On the contrary," Zenth interjected. "As trade relations develop, experienced intermediaries with established connections will be essential. Your knowledge of both human and Ghaalic protocols places you in an advantageous position." Ben smiled, realizing that his accidental encounter with the Ghaalics prompted by a disease he'd initially cursed had opened opportunities he could never have imagined. "All because your scanners picked up too much sugar in my blood." "A fortunate coincidence," Vrek agreed, "for both our species." As Ben prepared to depart the next day, Commander Lorix presented him with an updated trading permit and a small device. "This communicator will allow direct contact with Ghaalic vessels in case of emergency," the commander explained. "It also contains updated medical protocols should you experience any complications." "Thank you," Ben said, accepting both items. "Same time, same place in 6 months. We will send coordinates 1 Earth month prior to your next scheduled treatment," Lorix confirmed. "The location may change as our vessel continues its exploration mission." Ben nodded, then hesitated before asking, "The indigenous people on Kalis Roman 4, will they be okay, now that humans know they're there?" "We will continue to monitor the situation," Lorix assured him. "The observation protocols your people have implemented appear to comply with non-interference directives. If that changes, we will intervene." As Ben boarded his ship and prepared for departure, he reflected on how dramatically his life had changed in just 6 months. A potentially fatal disease had led to first contact with an advanced alien civilization. His lonely trading route had expanded into a network spanning multiple systems, with the potential to become something even greater as formal relations developed between humans and Ghaalics. The ship's computer displayed his vital signs all normal, including his glucose levels. The Ghaalic treatment had given him back his health and opened a new chapter in his life. As his vessel detached from the Lumina and set course for his next destination, Ben smiled at the irony. In the vast expanse of space, among countless possible encounters, it had been diabetes, a common human ailment, that had forged this unexpected connection between species. The message light on his console blinked, indicating an incoming transmission from the Lumina. Ben opened the channel to hear Vrek's voice one more time before they parted ways. "Safe travels, Ben Adams," the medical officer said. "Until our next meeting, monitor your glucose intake, though your pancreas should function normally. Remember that some things are universal across species. Proper maintenance of biological systems is essential for optimal performance." Ben laughed. Some things truly were universal, including doctors who couldn't resist giving one last piece of advice. "Understood, Vrek. I'll take care of myself. See you in 6 months." As the Ghaalic vessel receded in his view screen, Ben plotted a course for his next trading destination, grateful for both his restored health and his new place in an unexpectedly larger universe.